trying to get your buyer's deals accepted, right? Who here? Keep your hands up. You're working with a buyer and you've already been beat out on one property. Raise your hand. And then I mean, I got buyer agents on our team. We've got one buyer and we're getting up to anywhere 5, 6, 7. Boom, 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 boom. Just crash and burn, not getting into escrow. We got people that are like tapping out. They're like, that's it. I'm getting choked out by the seller's market and I'm tapping out. So what we're going to share with you guys today and what Dan's going to bring to the table is that Ann says, in 97, 2 years and started again. Okay, so you've kind of seen the ups and the downs, Ann, with how long you've been in the business. So Dan, I think you know what? I'm going to give you Dan's statistics that I do know. Where's Dan's statistics that I do know? So the good news, you guys should be excited about Dan Ihara and his team, Dan Ihara team. Where did I put my stats? Here it is. So Dan, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, excuse me, his team with volume and transactions was top 5 in the whole state of Hawaii. And this was, for those of you who went to Family Reunion, this was the awards that Dan and his team had gotten. And he was the number 1 real estate team for Keller Williams Honolulu, our market center, and did about $94 million in total volume. And Dan and Julie, his beautiful other half, have been doing this for many, many, many years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions. So he's going to be taking you to, this thing here. So let me see here. What I want you guys to do now, the next thing, because if we just, what we want to do is make sure we're talking about what are your number challenges and give you guys information that you can use immediately after you're done with this Zoom. So I want you guys to start putting in the chat, what is your number 1 challenge? What is your number 1 challenge, your number 1 roadblock when working with buyers in this current market? So start typing it in there. And here, I'm going to eliminate the one everybody's going to say, getting my buyer's offers accepted. I want you to go a little bit deeper than that. Tell me specific problems you're running into. Like, I can't, get a hold of the listing agent, So things like that. Start typing it in. Low inventory, multiple offers, okay? And you know what? We're about 11 minutes in, so I'm gonna kind of maybe also, so keep typing that in because I'm gonna be, as Dan's teaching the class, I'm gonna be watching the chat to make sure we're addressing your number 1 concerns. The other thing too, if it's not necessarily specifically to the buyers, the other thing I want you to share with us, because we'll circle back around to it towards the end, I want you to tell me in general, what is your number 1 challenge right now in your real estate business? In general, what is your number 1 challenge in real estate in your business right now? And also, the other thing I want to do for housekeeping, if we're teaching the course and we're mentioning things that are in the curriculum, and you guys like, oh, but there's this new thing that I'm doing and I'm having success with it. Our culture is about coming from contributions. So post something in there that says, I'm doing this. I went to the broker's office to accept my deal, and I walked in with a fully loaded bazooka. And for some reason, they paid attention to my offer and took, no, we didn't use a bazooka to that's like the ultimate cover letter, right? A bazooka, I must break you, you will accept my, no, we don't doing that. But if you guys have some legitimate, serious strategies or things that you guys are using or may have heard of that's helping you win with buyers, post it in the chat. Okay, not getting qualified for a mortgage. And I guarantee you, I'll be watching the chat, and if Dan doesn't cover it going through the curriculum, I'll make sure that we do hit upon it, either at the appropriate time or for sure at the end. Good news too, if you have a burning question that we don't answer as we go through this presentation, stay on the chat. Dan's super busy. If he's got to jump on, I will stay on and answer all questions before I end the meeting and send everybody back to Zoom La La Land. Okay, so you see here, and so there's our screen right there. But we're gonna get, I'm gonna get started with a couple of things here so that I'm gonna give you an overview of what we're gonna cover. By the way, either you know what, give me that, click on that thumbs up if by any chance you have a copy of the workbook. Do a little digital thumbs up on your screen. And by the way, when you click on it, if you're wondering like, how do I get rid of it? It just will go away after a couple seconds. So click on the thumbs up if you have a workbook. Cheryl, I don't know if we have something like on a link, if we can post that in the chat, if people wanna, you know, so Cheryl will post that there, or maybe Jewel, and then maybe we'll have, you guys go get that hyperlink and you can click on it. At least you have some, you know, you got the hard copy worksheets that you can take notes of. But basically what we're gonna cover, whether it's with Dan or myself, is we're gonna be covering the, in section 5, we're gonna be talking about writing a strong and solid offer. So it's gonna be 4 things. So if you had like 4 pieces of paper, here would be the title across the 4 pieces of paper. Oops, I gotta hit admit. Writing a strong offer, that's number 1. Number 2 would be negotiate and any and all issues that arise. So negotiate. And then number 3 would be complete the contract. And number 4 is going to be make it as much of a win-win for both parties. So here would be the 4 things that I'd want you to write down. I want you to write down number 1, write offer. Number 2, negotiate. Number 3, complete contract. And then number 4, win-win. Win-win, okay? And then let's see here. I'll tell you what, we're just gonna get going here. I know Dan will be logging in shortly, but I am gonna switch screens here and get going here with our presentation. Let me see here. And you know what? I'll just let Dan dovetail in between so that he can just get his handsome face on here and start chatting, and then I'll run the screen share for him. Let's see here. So we've got some people coming in. That's good. So for those of you just joining us, good news is we're running a little bit behind, but even better news is we're going to get going. So, alrighty. So let's start with the beginning. We just want to make sure offer, negotiate the contract. You know, who here believes, you know, raise your hand or just, you know, oh, and by the way, Cheryl or Jewel, when I'm screen sharing, I cannot see the chat. So you're going to have to manage the chat for me because I can't see it at the same time. But here's what I will tell you is that the big things in your life, getting stuff into escrow is made up of the small things, And the other phrase I want to share with you is that how we start in the beginning, keep the end in mind. So from your initial interaction from this listing agents or the sellers or your buyers, make sure that we're starting off on a good foot because it's hard to course correct when you get off on a bad foot. Not impossible, but a little bit, it's just a little bit easier, smooth sailing if we do things right from the beginning. And congratulations, every one of you are doing things right from the beginning by being in this training right now, taking notes and adding this to adding new synapses to your brain on how to do this stuff. Okay. So last time, I'm not sure who it was, but you guys talked about how do we find the home? And then the next class is going to be contract to close. We are literally just going to be focusing on offer and negotiate the contract. And we're going to cover 7 strategies, okay? So on this one, and I guess it's tough with the interaction, but I think, you know what I'm going to do? Whoever, you know, just somebody come off of mute and tell me what is your strategy, because I can't see the chat. Somebody come off of mute and tell me what is your strategy to find out what's important to the seller. And by the way, there's no right or wrong answers. The only dumb answer is the one you just don't choose to participate with. This is all learning, no judgment here. Somebody come off of mute and tell me. Go ahead.
Ask open-ended questions and then listen, actively listen.
Yes. Excellent. Ask open-ended questions and then, as we like to say, shut our pie holes. Just listen. You'd be surprised. What are agents guilty of? We love to talk. And that can be an advantage when you're trying. Well, not really. I don't know when that's an advantage. You know, when maybe you got a strong silent type that you're dealing with. But that can be an advantage in presentations or anything. But listening is going to get your offers accepted. Do more listening than talking. So good job. Thank you for that. Number 2 is educate and encourage your customers to make it a win-win offer. Somebody come off of mute and give me an example where an offer that you're presenting to the seller is not win-win. It's win-lose. Somebody give me an example. I have some examples.
An offer over the market price.
That's win-win, a market over the offer price. And the other things that I want you to think about is where it's important to educate the client up front in your consultation, not when you're at the open house and about to write the offer, is explain to them what the market is looking like. You know, if you're telling them it's a seller's market and on average the data is indicating that sellers are getting like 99% of their asking price, when your seller says, well, we're just going to offer them 80% of their offer price and have them negotiate us up, what would be the answer to that? What is the reality? If you come in at 80, 90%, when the seller's getting 100% or over, what is going to happen to your offer? Boom! It's going to get kicked to the curb. So you got to educate your client. And I'll tell you, a lot of times how we educate the client, we're too chicken to do a reality check with our buyers, and we're letting the listing agent kick them to the curb. Well, it's a lot of time and energy to show the home, do this, and do all the other 4 steps that we were teaching to write an offer with a position of failure right from the beginning. Do you all agree? Yeah. So educate and encourage your customers to make it a win-win. Why do you have to encourage them? Why do they say the word encourage? Somebody come off of mute and tell me why. By the way, I cannot see if Dan shows up. So Dan, if you show up, just say, I'm here. Why do we need somebody tell me an example of what happens when your client gets discouraged?
They give up.
They quit. They're like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. So you've got to encourage them along. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I was just adding to when I said they're fatigued from it, discouraged and fatigued because they get frustrated.
Yeah. You know what? What if you just tell them right up front? It's an MMA match out there, folks. We're going to have to compete hard in this market right now. One of the ways that I would tell you to keep them encouraged, I would challenge every single one of you before you even start looking at properties or doing anything. Do you know what your client's why is? Why do they want to buy a home? And whys can be either positive or negative. Positive means I want to be in a bigger place. Negative can be I'm in a smaller place and my landlord's a freak. And every time I hang something up, I get this, charge or something like that. And my toilet exploded the other week and he still hasn't come by to fix it. So they're either moving away from fear, from anger, and moving away towards pleasure. So that why you need to know what it is sandwiched in between those and remind them of it when they start feeling discouraged, and or just talk about it up front to keep them encouraged. Present the offer immediately. Definitely in the seller's market, right? What are the things that stop you from presenting an offer immediately? Somebody come off of mute and tell me what's one of those things. It's a big one. I heard somebody go, my buyer not being pre-approved. That is correct. Thank you, whoever said that. Oh, that was me. My buyer not being pre-approved. You get them all hot and heavy and all like, this is our home. And they're not pre-approved. You're like dead in the water. In a seller's market, if I got 10 offers and 5 of them don't have pre-approvals, I'm telling the seller, take those, roll them up, and use them to start your camping fire because they're completely worthless. Get pre-approved. So those would be one of the reasons why you would stop you from presenting it immediately. You not understanding your digital technology. You not understanding how to get people on a Zoom when they're all COVID scared. You not encouraging them and moving, right? In this seller's market, when it comes to writing an offer, you do not want to be the tortoise. It's the hare. Go quick. Be accurate, though. Don't shortcut stuff because you're going fast. Eliminate as many contingencies as possible. And for those of you You know what? I'm gonna hit the stop share so I can see the chat. Somebody come off of mute, not come off of mute. Put in the chat. What would be a contingency that you'd want to eliminate? What's one of them? Anyone? Put in the chat. I'll give you one. I'll say one, and between all of you, you guys got to come up with one. Cleaning. Cleaning would be one. You know what? You don't need to clean it. You don't need to clean it. Does that taking cleaning out of your offer makes your offer a clean offer? So that's how you're going to remember that. Take cleaning out of your offer, and it makes it a clean offer. What would be other contingencies that you could get rid of? Then you're like, Attilio, what are you asking us for? You're teaching the class. Okay, I'm going to run through a couple of them. The appraisal coming in low. So you're going to put an appraisal escalation clause. How specifically to word that? Go to your BIC or your productivity coach or somebody with more experience. Do not wing the language of that. I'm just giving you the generics of it. What else? Some little bit of problems with the home. Have to sell my house before I buy. Have to sell my house before I buy. The other things for contingencies, let me see here, like be willing to, you know what, be willing to pay for the termite. Be willing to pay for the termite. If you want to be even super bold and super aggressive, be willing to pay for fumigation. It just depends on how motivated you are to work that property. Because I will tell you, it's not only going to be price. It's not only going to be price that the listing agents and the sellers are going to be looking at. They're going to be looking at how easy is it going to be to work with you? How responsive are you? Are you a pain in the butt to work with? Do I call you and you know what was a key indicator of pain in the buttness? When I call your phone, and those of you who are guilty of it, do not raise your hand. Just go fix this later on after the class. Don't be one of those realtors where like, the subscriber you have reached has not set up their voicemail, or it's a generic voicemail, or even here's the worst one, voicemail is full. You know what should be right after voicemail is full? I will not be working with you. Blink. So anyway, are you a pain in the butt to work with? And just don't admit it. This is not A&A for horrible agents. This is like learning and moving forward. Okay. Help your customer overcome any fears related to ownership. If they haven't owned before, especially first-time home buyers, even somebody moving up, down, sideways, just moving in general. Does anybody raise their hand and go, oh, guess what? Next week we have to move. I'm looking really forward to it. Not one person, unless their neighbors are crazy and they want to get away from them. Or maybe, maybe somebody that lived in the house with them, they want to get, they're looking for it. But even with that, nobody's looking to packing up all their stuff, cleaning and doing this, taking time off of work, and doing that. So help your clients overcome those fears by going through what I would say would be going through, and you know what, you guys help me out. Type in the chat or come off of mute. Tell me what are the #1 fears that people have of home ownership.
Getting something that's not really what they thought they were getting, or getting, I don't like to use the term screwed, but getting screwed.
Like buying a lemon.
Getting jammed. Buying a lemon.
Money pit.
Yep. Buying a money pit. Everybody remember that movie?
Yeah. Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Tom Hanks, yeah. The whole stairway just went, I remember that was a hilarious movie. But yeah, being jammed on anything. Well, here's the deal. So here's a couple of things to assuage. I just used my 50 cent word, and that's a $5 word, to assuage their fears of ownership. You're not going to overpay for the property. And by the way, all of these things are covered in your presentation. Because, when it comes to the appraisal, we're going to come back and renegotiate. This thing's going to fall apart. The only thing holding it together is the termites holding hands. Well, we're going to do a termite inspection. If there's live termites, we're going to treat that. So negotiation happens all the way through escrow. And here's what I would challenge you. Here's your homework from this class. Take the purchase contract, the standard purchase contract, HER purchase contract, and highlight all the ways that the buyer can cancel and get their deposit back. Okay? And whatever that number is, you're going to assuage their fears of home ownership by saying, don't worry, we're going to go through the due diligence process. And there is going to be, and then I can't see it real quick, there are going to be like, I don't know, 9 different ways that you can cancel and you get your deposit back. Can anybody tell me in J1, what is the reason you need to cancel during the inspection period? What is the reasons you must give? And by the way, that's a trick question.
There isn't any. I just,
No reason. You know, your agent has bad breath. We're canceling. No, don't do that on the reason why you can't. You don't have to give a reason. The J1 period, you'd be like, nope, we're out of here, gone. And I think something like O1 applies, and 01 means like, oh, I get my deposit back. If you want to remember that as a memory hook.
So until
Build
the
report
J1
with the
is,
listing. Go ahead.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
you had
I
a
mean,
question?
until the J1 is completed, you can just get out for any reason.
Yes. So pay
Wow.
attention to your J1. That is the most important deadline to pay attention to in the beginning. Be ready to go with your home inspections, with your whatever, your contractors, your uncle who slept in a Holiday Inn and woke up the next morning and thinks he's a contractor. All those people, get them down there. All the busybodies, everybody. Bring the whole ohana. Bring the whole, 15-passenger van, and everybody go through during that 15-day period. Because that's when you're going to decide, you know what, do I need to move? The house down the street, exact same floor plan, exact same model, way more upgrades, $10,000 left. Canceling, going on. Well, I mean, see if you can, check it out first before you jump, because you might be jumping from the frying pan into the fire. So you absolutely have no reasons. But read the contract on that, okay? Read the contract. And again, in this class, we're talking generalities. Build rapport with the listing agent and/or seller. It's tricky with the seller, right? Because then you're the etiquette is that we don't really start talking story with them. But if the seller makes, maybe I know the seller from PE or whatever, or our kids are on the same soccer team. I usually telling my client, make them aware of who you are, but don't be all talking story and then creating these pitfalls for your agents because they don't know what's going on because you guys are working out something on a side channel. Don't do that. And what I tell sellers and buyers is that if you communicate directly with the client, you think you're being nice because you're all talking a story and sharing information, but you may put yourself at a disadvantage when it comes to negotiations. So, but it doesn't hurt for you for people like doing business with people, they what? It's three things. You guys know what it is?
They know, trust,
And like.
And like.
right.
Right. They know, like, and trust you. So it doesn't hurt. I tell you right now, I got buyers, they will check out the seller on social media. Oh man, that guy's like, he's posting all these pictures wearing the white beaters and lots of beers. I don't buy that house. They all kind of checking each other out on social media. So, figure out what you need to do to develop some relationship. For you as a buyer's agent, the best way that you can build rapport with the listing agent, don't be a flake. Don't be a flake. Don't be a pain in the butt. There's a proper bedside manner that you want to have with your clients. Here's what I tell you. Be Christopher Columbus, not Chicken Little. You're like, Attilio, what do you mean by that? I'm glad you guys asked. What I mean by that is we have these Chicken Little agents. Oh, what if this? What if that? What if this? Blah, 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 blah. And then they're doing the walkthrough and they totally kill the deal. Half the time I find out that their what if scenarios have nothing to do with reality or facts or experience or track record. They're just so hesitant and so scared to get in a transaction with their client that they might, and it's like, be confident and be factual and bring in a lot of experts, but don't have such a terrible bedside manner that you keep talking your client out of owning a home every time you go to do an inspection or walk through one. Be matter of fact, be factual, have them write stuff down, okay? And what I mean by don't be a flake, like, even my 18 agents on my team will do this, and we get the riot act read to us. We schedule showings, and then we go, oops, I forgot to cancel that. We weren't going there. And then your seller's doing all of this, and then their seller calls the listing agent. What the heck? You people scheduled a showing, and they didn't even show up, or they were late, or leaving stuff on, like the air conditioning, leaving doors open. The etiquette is to leave a card on the kitchen table, not leaving the card. Or, sitting down and cracking open a beer and watching the game. Like, no, we never had that happen before. But just be, understand the etiquette of our industry and follow it and be that person. I will tell you right now, if you are a knucklehead, you will have a knucklehead reputation, and you're going to be the agent that the listing agents are like, I'm not really going to take this call right now. I'm right in the middle of binge watching on Netflix. I'll call them after I'm done with season 7 of Walking the... No, I'm just kidding. They're not going to do that. They'll call you back eventually. But just don't develop that reputation of, no, and I'm not saying don't be aggressive and assertive for your client, but don't be so aggressive and so like people just don't want to work with you, because it's got to be win-win. It cannot be win-lose. Okay, focus on the numbers. You got to crunch numbers for people. And as far as the numbers in a buy-side transaction, where are the numbers coming from? You are the source of the source, but not the source. What numbers am I talking about? Somebody come off of mute or put it in the thing. Yep, interest rate. Stuff from the lender. Do not put your lender hat on if you are not a licensed mortgage broker. Do not put that hat on. I didn't even want you saying, I'm not a mortgage broker, but I play one on TV. No, don't do that. Be the source of the source from your mortgage broker. Should I lock my interest rates? That's a great question for our mortgage broker. Let's get her or her on the phone right now. Is this a good interest rate? That's a great question. And don't be like, oh, well, I don't, it's like, I like you don't want to answer it, but my lane, tell them from the beginning, my lane is the house. Their lane is the financing, and we're going to work together. We're going to work together. Your loan officer is going to hold them down, and then you're going to pummel them while no, you're not going to do any of that stuff. But focus on the numbers. Do not talk about mortgages. Do not put your homeowner's insurance hat. You should have a insurance agent that you work with. Can the amount of insurance that it costs for a home, like flood insurance, can that kill the deal? The answer is yes. So check it out early, give that information to your insurance agent, because that all plays a role in the financing. Insurance agent, mortgage broker. Okay. And I need to see your faces and see the chat, so I'm not going to screen share. Okay, make strong offers is the next part we're going to cover. Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. Okay. You see here. Let's see here. I'm going to run through a couple of the questions here. And you guys put questions in the chat. What are the questions that you should be, I don't want to say the right questions or wrong questions, but what questions are you guys asking them? Have you accepted an offer yet? That would be a duh question, because if, actually, I take that back. Let me ask you guys this. If they already have an accepted offer, should you submit an offer? I'm not going to move forward till put something in the chat or come off on mute. Chris, I'm going to pick on you since you're so bold. You're a confident man. Chris, should you still submit an offer if there's already an offer in play?
I would say yes, but maybe is that redundant? I would say yes.
You would say yes? That is correct. Even though it was a yes with a question mark. That is correct. Yes, yes, yes. Still submit the offer. Still submit the offer. You went and showed it. You went through this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you got all the paperwork and you're just ready to sign off and get it in. Send the offer in. Do buyers fall out of escrow? Have you had buyers fall out of escrow? And you were the buyer that fell out of escrow as the listing agent? I'm not going to go through reverse marketing and call the 500 agents that have clients that have favorited my listing. I'm going to go to the ones that have submitted backup offers. And it doesn't have to be a formal backup offer. Just email it to them. So it's just sitting in their inbox and they can go, I'm going to go back to this guy. Too often, I don't know if it's ego or not enough or a strategy. Well, we're not going to submit an offer. That's crazy. You never know. It's like saying, I'm going to win the lottery, but I'm not going to buy a lottery ticket. You cannot win the lottery or have a chance of winning it unless you have a lottery ticket. Submit the offer. Submit the offer. Get them used to it. Tell them, and educate your buyer, share facts and trends, discuss well, actually, let me give you more of the questions. You're expecting any offers? How much activity has there been? Have you given out disclosure statement? See if you can get the disclosure statement. Can you send a disclosure statement now? By the way, all of that is in this workbook. What is important to your seller? Has your seller rejected any offers? How would you like the offer delivered? Will you notify me if you receive other offers? I will tell you where you can go wrong is asking, oh, I just took this class from Attilio. I'm going to submit all 9 of these questions to every listing partner. You're going to drive them crazy. They're going to feel like they're in like I'm being interrogated by the buyer agent. And I'm like, and you're one of 150 emails they haven't checked that day. I would make it a way for you for someone to do business with you where it's so easy. It's so easy. As my Italian-American friend would say, it's really nice working with you if I was from New York and I was a listing agent. Like, They call me. They sent a text highlighting my email so that I could pick that email out of the 150 I haven't read. They asked me, what do I need to have an offer? And they made it all really nice and smooth. And I was like, the offer came into the listing agent. They're like, oh, I like this offer. It's really nice because you're easy to work with. Okay. So don't ask a lot of questions. I would come up with 3 really good questions. Because if you interrogate the listing agent and they got 9 offers, they're like, sorry, bro, I don't have, or gal, I don't have time to be answering all these questions. I'm going straight to who's got the higher offer, and then the bottom 5, we're just going to give you some generic email response, okay? And once you, I would socially, on social media, I would stalk the top listing agents, because there's a high probability that when you go to write an offer or show properties, they got the listing. So figure out what the top producing teams, the top producing agents, go on their listings, even if you're not a buyer looking at that house, look in their agent remarks. How many times we get asked questions from buyer agents and all the information's right there. What is that telling me about you as an agent? Because we used to say this all the time, agents don't read. ADR, agents don't read. So read those instructions. I came across one from a Better Homes Garden agent. She had like a 1-page document. Like, if you do this, and if you do this, you do this, and this. Do you think we have a higher probability if we totally, like, she's telling me make me a cake, and I'm following all the ingredients and I'm baking her a cake. I didn't give her a pancake. I gave her a cake because that's what she wanted, and she gave me the specific instructions on how to present my offer. Okay. You see here. Okay, I'm watching my time. I got 20 minutes. If you go to the restroom, I'll tell you, hold it, because in that time you're at the restroom, I'm going to give you some good stuff. So just hold it for another 20 minutes. Let me see here. Okay, share facts and trends. And this is, what is the client, what is the #1 piece of information on that purchase contract that your client as a buyer is depending on you for? Somebody put it in the chat or come off from you. Renee, you're good. You can bail. Renee, thank you. Somebody come off of mute. What is the most important piece of data, has a dollar sign in front of it, on the purchase contract that your client's relying on you for? The CMA is, it helps you to get there, but there's going to be a number that you're going to have to fill in on that purchase contract. And what is the most important number on the purchase contract? Purchase price. Thank you, Cheryl. It's the purchase price. You can't put a purchase range on there. You could probably put, we could do it if you have an acceleration clause. An acceleration clause that says, it's like, my offer is $800,000. If any offer comes in or is higher, we will accelerate to $5,000 above. I don't know, and then get the language from your BICs, okay? But an acceleration clause will create like an automatic bidding war with the buyer to see how aggressive and how bad your buyer wants that property. Talk about the trends, you know, do a market analysis and find out, more importantly, what percentage of asking price are these properties closing at, okay? Let's see here. So list price to sales ratio, price per square foot, cumulative days on market. What is the type of industry that someone is that wants all this kind of detail? What do they typically do for a living? What might they do for a living?
Accountant.
Accountant, engineer, your annoying uncle that just knows all the football stats. You know, it just, detailed oriented people are going to want data. They're going to want data. Now, don't be so caught up in the data that you guys like write the offer like 1 week later and it's already 3 days in escrow. So you give them the data, but tell them don't take forever to research that data because we got to move quick, okay? And prepare them up in advance. A lot of times the big mistake buyers agents do is you don't go over the purchase contract, you're ready to write an offer. Do it in advance. It's 14 pages plus all of our addendums. You're pretty much submitting a manuscript for a story called I Want to Buy Your Home. And the writer, the sellers, and they're like, rejected, this manuscript's terrible. The price is too low. Let me see here. Also, take these details into consideration, property history and age, amenities, upgrades, or improvements. One of the things that I do to kind of get a feel for the neighborhood, here's a little tip, this is a nugget. I go on Google Street View and I get my client on a Zoom and I do a 360 of the street. Now, it's not real time because they're probably about 6 to 8 to 12 months old. But most likely, if you got Sanford and Sons that lives somewhere in the neighborhood within eyesight of that home, it's still going to be Sanford and Sons today. So you might want to go on that, and that's a way of you know, getting an idea or educating them on the community. Because the last thing you want them to do is buy a property and then they're like, oh yeah, it was right. And here's the thing with COVID, it might be next to a nightclub that's completely quiet right now. And then it opens up and it's like the most rockinest joint on the town 9 months after they own the home. So pay attention to the COVID discrepancies that are out there, hidden things. Location. Real quick, put in the chat, what else do we need to know about location while I move on to the next topic? Put in the chat, what do we need to know about location? Okay. Neighbors, street parking. What else? Put it in the chat. Come on, guys. Let's check in on this. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. All right. Obviously, we're going to talk about 10 points flood zone. Yep. Check on the flood zone. Roosters. Yes, I know on Kauai. That's like the national bird. They got them everywhere. And schools. Not too. And on schools, our policy in Honolulu is we don't get too deep into the schools because we already got sued and it costs us 150 grand to pay somebody to have them go to private school. That's for real. So be the source of the source. Take them to the DOE website to tell them about schools, but don't be like, oh yeah, that school's awesome. And then it's not so awesome, you know. And then COVID, everything's all up in there. We're schooling from home. We're schooling in the classroom. We're doing a combo thing. We're not gonna come back into school till next month. So point them in the right direction, but don't make too much comments on that. A lot of liability. Let's see, pre-approval of the mortgage loan. Make sure that you're not bopping around and using different lenders all the time. I'd highly recommend that you get really, because they're literally the most important other person on your team when working with buyers is the lender. Make sure they're not flaky. Make sure they don't have the voicemail like, oh, not set up my voicemail. Voicemail's full. Really keep your finger on the pulse on their interaction with your client. How they treat your client, is that a reflection upon you? If you referred that mortgage broker to them? Yes, it is. If they stink, then you stink. It's called stink by affiliation. Stinky affiliation. So anyway, you got to find out what conveys. You know, there's a thing called real property if and or attached. You'd be surprised how we'll do a final walkthrough and those $300 ceiling fans are now like hanging wires from the ceiling because the seller's like, oh, I put these fans in and I'm taking them with me. No, it's attached. You're supposed to leave it. So, and maybe they love the fans, and in the seller market, you're like, oh, you guys love your fans? You can take them with you if you want. Closing costs. I would get a net statement or a HUD one from Title and Escrow. First Away Title is awesome at providing those. I wouldn't use those apps where you can calculate it, or even the ones that the Title and Escrow provide, because then you're the source of the information, and if you're off, you might be writing a check or getting a one-star review on agents who did not let somebody else make the closing statement. And here's a tip. There's a word estimated on there. Tell your Title and Escrow company, you already told First Hawaiian Title, I want that thing in a grade 20%, like all the way across, because they get that estimated net statement and they think that's what's going to happen when it comes time to sign and closing. And then if it's off, they're like, what? This is not accurate. It's estimated. That's why. Expiration date, reply time, make sure that you meet your expiration dates and get going hop, 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 hop. You got to train your clients on how to use digital signatures, especially in today's day and age. You've got to be able to be an expert with DocuSign. Know if somebody's hanging up in the signature series, right? Wife signed it, but she missed that last signature, so it didn't go to husband and it's hung up. Don't check that the next morning. Like, I'm going to send this to you. When do you think you'll get to it? I'm going to get to it by 1 o'clock. At 1:05, you're calling like, you told me you didn't get to it at 1 o'clock. You didn't get to it. Buyers appreciate you staying on top of them. They're trying to buy a house while still going through a pandemic and figuring out what to do with the kids and home sheltering with a bunch of relatives that are driving them crazy. And then you're in there trying to help them buy a home. Be that coach, that person that's running alongside with them. Humanize the offer with a personalized letter. Anybody share something, any wins that you've had with a personalized letter, or what do you put in that cover letter? I will tell you, check with your broker in charge and check with your principal broker. It's up in the air that it may cause discrimination. And, you know, I don't know. It just, I'm just right on the line with that. My team, I just don't make a cover letter. I mean, I'm just not getting so caught up in the what if scenarios, but an attorney's gonna tell you don't, because it may cause, you know, just some weirdness there because you're showing them. But I will tell you, we had a transaction where the sellers were retired teachers and they knew the buyers were teachers and they took their offer even though it was $5,000 less because they wanted their home to go to teachers, to young teachers with a new family. So personalizing it does have an effect. Now, what are the two football teams? What are two NFL football teams that are like serious rivals? I am not a football person, so I don't know. Somebody put it in the chat. I don't know. It's like, you know, I don't know. Somebody put it in the chat. Like, whatever. I'm just going to pick two teams. Let's say the Packers hate the Raiders. Don't put in, you know, if you see like Raiders fan stuff all over the seller's house, don't be like, and my buyer's a rabid Packers fan. They were like, I mean, some people get crazy with this fan stuff, and they're like, even though the offer's 10,000 over, they're a Packers fan. Screw them. We're not taking their offer. So go on social media, check it out. It's a fine line that you got to weave with that, but it is. If you're asking me if you're on my team, what do I advise our team members? I say put the cover letter. Multiple offer situation, you just got to put your offer in and go with it and see what's going to happen with that, and just make sure that you check in and you're easy to work with, because I tell you, your reputation plus the pre-approval plus the cover letter plus how you wrote the letter, it's all integral in getting your offers accepted. Okay. The easiest way is to send an email, but not be like checking 9 times a day. Did you get that email? Did you get that email? Figure out what's the way that listing agent communicates with that gets you the best response. Complete the contract is the next part, and we're going to talk about just initial and date. And by the way, is Dan on? And he's just not coming on, and he's just letting me just. No, he's not on. Okay. Initial and date all changes. I will tell you in the workbook it says initial and date all changes. I would, you know what, with today's technology, just rewrite the contract so you're not like, wait, was that it? And then it gets confusing. There's enough moving parts and bits and pieces of a purchase contract that you're like, did I get that initial? Did I get that date? I would just rewrite the contract if you need to make some changes. And if you're going to make any changes, just handle it in the counter. Handle it in the counter, but have a very clean and neat offer, not with all these. I don't recommend initialing the changes. I mean, if you're out in the field and you're not next to a printer and you want to make this change, then you got to work with what's in front of you. Get a signature for a sheet of options money. We really don't do options money here in Hawaii. That means in Texas, I know they do options money, which means that in Texas, if you put $1,000 down and for some reason you guys fall out, doesn't matter what the reason is, you lost $1,000 to the seller. We do not have options money in Hawaii and don't do options money in Hawaii. Get a copy of the seller's disclosure. Don't ask for something if it's a lot of times, I don't know how it is on Cheryl, or maybe what do you guys know in RAM, which you guys MLS, can you attach additional documents to the MLS?
Yes, you can upload them to the RAM. Yep.
Yeah. We, with our listings, if it's a good, clean seller's disclosure and there's not on there, like, you know, there's a pet cemetery in the backyard, we just put it in there because we want to make it easy for our buyers to get in the information and write their offers and come in. So you might have a listing agent that's already has the seller's disclosure there, so don't be emailing, calling, and texting them for information that's already been presented to you. Read through, open up all the attachments, click on everything. Don't assume that your clients have done that either. Read through, click on everything, confirm things with them. Good listing agents put all the information to make it easy for you to do business with them. I get buyer's agents calling me, what's the showing instructions? And we're like, it's in the agent remarks, and or it's in showing time, who we've set up to take your call 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night, 7 days a week to get you in there. Real quick, what are you looking for on the seller's disclosure? And then we're coming down to the end here. What are you looking, what's some red flags in the seller's disclosure? Somebody put it in the chat. Patriots and the Giants. Yeah, if you got a seller that's a Patriots fan, and then you're like, you got a picture of your family wearing Giants uniform, So anyway, somebody, and keep posting what are you looking for on the seller's disclosure? You know, things like we had a water damage, we have an encroachment, we have unrecorded interest. Just here's what I would tell you: anything that they checked yes to, they need to provide further explanation in that other part of the seller's disclosure. Read it. And these people are not science fiction technical writers. They're gonna be like, has the roof been replaced? Yes. And then in the special section, yeah, we went and replaced the roof. I'm like, get a copy of the contract. Who was the contractor? Take a look at it. One of the things I'll tell you, a lot of times roofing contractors, the not so good ones, they just go over the old roof. They go over the old roof, and that's terrible, because if you're gonna do a roof properly, you scrape it down to the plywood, put the new tar paper, put the new roof, not layer, 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 okay? Record the contract and escrow according to the state law. Okay, well, just that, and then let me see here. I think I'm almost towards the end, because and I'm gonna screen share here, and then we're gonna do ahas, because I like to start on time and end on time. And I'm gonna do a screen share real quick. And yep, Tara put in there lead bait, lead paint, asbestos. There's a question number 73. Does my neighbors do bad karaoke in the middle of the night on a weeknight? No, that's not a question on the seller's disclosure. I'm just kidding with you. But I tell my buyers, go to that community and drive through weeknights, weekday, weekend, party weekends. You know, see if it's like quiet by day and then crazy by night. I call it the mullet house, right? It's business in the front and then crazy in the back. So here's the overview: is write a strong offer. We've gone through the tips on that. I highly recommend, if you're a brand new agent, get into productivity coaching. You got seasoned, experienced agents that are going to guide you through the process. If you're like, man, I just want all the commissions to myself. Well, 100% of nothing is nada. So it's worth it to invest in bringing people in. Partner with an experienced agent. In the beginning, partner with as many experienced agents who will teach you what they know to help you to get where they're at. There's no reinventing of the wheel. At worst case scenario, I'll tell people on my team, I don't know, did you Google that? Don't come to me with just problems. Come to me with problems and 3 solutions. Well, I don't know what to do. Google it. Oh, by the way, if you Google the word Google, your computer will explode. I am just kidding. That's not true. Just seeing if you guys paying attention. They're like, don't Google the word Google. Somebody's writing that down in their notes right now, and they're going to think that's serious. Negotiate any and all issues that arise. It's better to address as many of those as you can in the beginning when you're crafting your offer, because that's what we're talking about. Complete the contract. Make it as much of a win-win for both parties. And that is it. We got 3 minutes left. And you know what, Keller Williams, we don't let you lead the class unless you come up with an aha. Yeah, Coqui frogs, that's good ones. Plane noise, airplane noise. So real quick, what I want everybody to do is, you know what? All of you, post an aha. What's your takeaway? 1 sentence, go. Now I'll start reading them. I'll read them. Type fast. This is all about, again, 2-way communication. Let's share with each other. I like Tony Robbins said, I'm not your guru. It's group learning. And we got about 3 minutes left. I hope this was helpful. Don't give up. You know what? That's a good one from Cheryl. Acceleration clauses in a backup offer. 1,000 more hours of training on this in my aha. I need lots more training. You know what, Molly? Don't be getting ready to get ready with the 1,000 hours. Your training follows alongside your earning. Model success agents. Never mind modeling them. Get in their back pocket. Stalk them. Make them follow them so bad that they get a restraining order on you. You following them so bad. Yeah, you can bail out of the deal anytime on the J1. Read the details. I'll tell you right now, if you're not a detailed person and you refuse to be a detailed person, you need to go be doing something else. Hopefully it's not like, don't be working with the bomb disposal unit with Maui PD, because that's not a good one either, a career choice. But you have to be detailed oriented if you're going to be successful in real estate. Also, you can get your butt sued or have code ethics violations. Check the neighborhood. Yes, learning how to write contracts. And you know what? Right now, if you got your license yesterday, you can write a contract on a property, get an escrow, close, and make commissions. It's called productivity coaching, a mentor, partnering with a seasoned agent. you find the business, but you incorporate them into closing it, right? The only reason why you guys are not successful at getting your offers accepted is go right now after this Zoom, go in the bathroom and look in the mirror. You're it. You're it. Because I'll tell you right now, I can have the same buyer, same everything, and I got 2 different buyer agents on my team. This buyer agent will get them in escrow, and this one won't. Everything is the same. The only difference is right up here. What else? Come in strong. First away title escrow. First away title, I'll tell you, with the marketing and everything else and all the packets and the stuff that they provide you, they're a really good partner. They're a really good partner, okay? Sometimes you get more educated on the property than even the listing agent is educated on the property. And is that helpful for them? Yes, it is, because it's win-win. Last thing I'll leave you with, a lot of times we put this like sneaky stuff in purchase contracts to see if the listing agent won't catch it. Just be right up front with that, because I'll tell you, you'll get that into escrow and close it, and you burn them once, and they're gonna be watching for you on future transactions, because it's about win-win. It's about win-win. Your fiduciary responsibility is to your client, but you can do things in a win-win where it makes sense for both. Because if it's win-lose, the sellers and the buyers, the seller's agent, they're going to be looking for ways to kick you to the curb because you came in with the lose-win scenario. That's it. I hope this was helpful for you guys. We are at 2:00, and we always start late, but for sure we end on time. So anyway, November 12th is step 6. I hope to see all your beautiful and handsome faces on that. I really appreciate being in business with you all, and namaste. Go out there and write some contracts.
Thanks, Tilio. Nice job.
Thanks, Attilio.
And if anybody wants to come up, you got questions, I'm here for another 30 seconds. No, anybody got any questions? Keep logging out, keep logging out.
Thank you, Attilio. That was awesome.
Okay. So we're good.
Way to step in.
We're good plantiers.
Glad you were here. That was so fun.
Sure. So it's good. I'm teaching it. I'm learning too. So it's good for me too. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to pit. I remember that. Yeah, I need to start with that. So, all right. If there's if you guys need for anything else, just let me know in the classes, and we are semper gumby, always flexible. Hello, Mr. Porter. Nice to see you on the training.
All right. See you next week.
Okay, aloha.
Aloha.